Hello and welcome to my F1 24 driver career mode here today for part 57 for the Austrian Grand Prix and our second sprint weekend of the season as well. Come into then the sprint race qualifying where we've been caught out and it was raining. We were changing the setup of the car and the rain started whilst we were doing that, so the track is very slippery and that lap's going to put us stone dead last. We went through it again, but it was too wet and we're all over the place, so we're going to box and we're going to be starting the sprint race stone dead last as we struggle to get back to the pits. So this is the grid then ahead of the sprint race. It's another front row for Carlos Sainz, being on the front row at every qualifying session apart from the Miami sprint, and Piastri is alongside him. Then it's George and Yuki Tsunoda, Gasly and Lewis Hamilton, Vesti and Max Verstappen, Perez and Daniel Ricciardo, Hulkenberg and Charles Leclerc, Behrman and Fernando Alonso, Albon and Lando Norris, Ocon and Lance Stroll, and on the final row of the grid then is Joe in the Sauber and us in the Mercedes. So here we go then, ahead of the sprint race, the 5 red lights are on. There's a small chance of rain. We're racing for the sprint in Austria and we've got a fairly decent start. We're already ahead of Joe in the Sauber. Everyone's side by side in front of us. We're going to go for the dive bomb down the inside, gain several positions there. We're alongside Behrman and we have got the Sauber. We're up quite a few places with that. We're still side by side with Behrman though. He's not giving up. We're going for another lunge at turn 3 and look at the places we're gaining. We're side by side with Fernando Alonso. Can we get the exit? As the Haas is up the road, Alonso keeps us behind. We're all over the back though of that Aston Martin. To the inside of turn 4 we go on Fernando Alonso, our former teammate. We hang him out to dry around the outside and we gain that place. But we've made a little mistake and Alonso's going to try and get back around the outside of us there. Can he keep it pinned? He's still there, Alonso. We're going to give him the space. There's nearly contact with him. And on this open lap, we find ourselves inside the top 10. What a start. We need to get this Haas quickly because Haas are absolutely shocking this year. They're still yet to get a point. And here we are in P9. We're all over the back and now round the outside at turn 1. Job done. Beautiful move, that one. I don't think it's going to be long before Alonso follows in through. As now Alonso puts us under pressure a couple laps later. This is Max and the Williams of Ricciardo. And now we're looking to try and get an exit here. We have got a DRS. We've both got a DRS from those in front. They're side by side. Is Max going to keep it pinned to the inside? We're going to go for the double move up the inside. It's a beautiful move. We get Max, we get the Williams, and we're up now into the points in the sprint. Up next is the Ferrari of Lewis Hamilton. What a chance we would have had if we had a good qualifying in this sprint. To the inside of Lewis Hamilton though we go, and we get the Ferrari out of the corner on the traction. But Hamilton though isn't giving up. He's gone back to the outside of us and he's retaken the position just about. He's just got his nose ahead briefly, but we're going to have him back here and we do get him back. Now up the road next is Tsunoda and Gasly. Hamilton though still at the inside of us. We haven't pulled this move off yet, but finally it looks like we have. And we have the 7-time world champion not giving up on that one. And up next is the RB of Yuki Tsunoda, who we're going to get at the penultimate corner. Lovely move. Up next is Gasly, and we're writing up a top 4 finish in this sprint race from starting stone dead last. We're getting closer and closer to the back of the Alpine. We're going to go to the inside at turn 1, get the job done, and that is up to P4. Hamilton though got the job done and we were struggling to pull away and catch the top 3, and Hamilton gets us back now at turn 3. But can we get him back on the exit, on the traction? Yes we can, and we've also grabbed the DRS from that as well, and that's going to keep us ahead of the Ferrari for now. Lap 7 of lap 12. Now on to lap 8. Hamilton's going for it again. This time he's a lot further alongside, but we're going to go back down the inside and keep the place off Lewis Hamilton. And now finally we pulled away a little bit. This is Max on the back now of Lewis Hamilton, a little bit too far back to have a go at his former championship rival. But now Lewis Hamilton will have the DRS, and that's going to allow him to close up so hard to break the DRS round here. Of course, you've got 3 DRS zones back to back to back around this track, and Max eventually did get the job done on Lewis Hamilton, and now he's trying to get us back. There's just 2 laps to go. We brake very, very late into turn 1, but this man up top, Carlos Sainz, rounds the final corner to win the sprint race here in Austria, and Oscar Piastri in the McLaren is just going to hold off our teammate George Russell to claim P2 in the sprint, and we're going to hold off Fernando Alonso, who found his way through to finish P4. So that's been your sprint race then. Won by Carlos Sainz, Piastri P2, George P3, and we are P4. Good couple of points on the board. What a great comeback drive that was for us. The job was half done after lap 1, gaining those 10 places, but what it could have been if we had actually got a proper qualifying in the sprint and not been caught out with the rain. And then it was Fernando Alonso who rounded out the top 5, and then down at the back there was a late retirement, which was Frederick Vesti. So it was Joe who is the final finisher of the sprint. So we come into qualifying ahead of the race itself, and we had to change the setup because we were expecting rain in the sprint, but it didn't come down. So we've changed to a better setup, a dry setup. We're currently at first run, puts us outside the top 10 as we got held up on our second run a little bit by a car there. Our last run we ran a little bit wide, we've got another toe a little bit off of Max in front. We're going to improve, and that's going to put us only P11. In our final run, we've been tucked up behind Max once again. We'll still find a 10th though, and we come up to the line and start the race, P10. So we've had the sprint. This is the grid for the real thing. It's Fernando Alonso on pole, Carlos Sainz another front row in P2, then it's Lando Norris and George Russell, Albon and Charles Leclerc, Piastri and Daniel Ricciardo, Perez and us round out the top 10, then it's Ocon and Lewis Hamilton, Gasly and Max Verstappen, Stroll and Yuki Tsunoda, Hulkenberg and Ollie Behrman, and on the final row of the grid is Joe and Frederick Vesti, who's had to take a penalty after the sprint. So as we come round then the end of the formation lap ahead of the Grand Prix, we know we've got great race pace in this car. We're starting a lot further up from where we were in the sprint. So let's see then what can happen in Austria for the race. We're racing in Austria and we've got a fairly horrible start. It's a horrible start by the McLaren there of Lando Norris. We're going to go to the inside of an Alpine there. Max Verstappen got a fairly decent start. Now we're drag racing the Alpine. We've just got our nose ahead as we head up towards turn 3. He's not giving up though, is that Alpine. We're going to go for the lunge though. We've got Max, we've got a Williams there as well. We're on the back of the Ferrari. And we do get the exit out of turn 3. Now can we get the Ferrari just in front of us? We're getting closer and closer. We're going for the lunge to the inside and we're ahead. And up next is our teammate George Russell in the Mercedes. We get past Charles Leclerc in the Ferrari. It's been another great opening lap as the Aston Martin up front, Fernando Alonso, is starting to pull away as now we're getting closer and closer to the back of our teammates. Are we going to go for the lunge? It could be risky on our teammate, but we're going for it anyway. To the inside we go at turn 3. Can we get the traction? Yes we can. We're up now into P5. Up next up the road is Albon. George is too far back to have a go at trying to re-overtake us there back. As now we're getting closer and closer to the Williams, and to the inside of Albon we go, and we get the job done. And just like the sprint, we're inside the top 4. As now further back on lap 4, this is Lance Stroll's engine, that Honda engine, giving up in the back of the RB. Not too much difference to the race. It's Lance Stroll, let's be honest. If his engine goes, it stops him crashing. So as he's driving a long way, dropping oil and everything onto the track to find a marshal post, and he's found one there. No safety car or virtual safety car needed, as now the Williams of Albon tries to get us back there at turn 1. We really force him wide, and that might open the door to help George overtake Albon. Now George goes to the outside. Can he get the job done here? To the outside he goes, round the outside. Can he get the traction on out of the corner? Yes, he can. It's a great move by George. We've pulled away, and now George has caught the back of us, and he's looking quite quick, like he did in the sprint. And now to the inside of us he goes, but he's got us. George has got us. We've had to let him through really there. He's looking very, very quick. And we just decided to try and sit behind him here, try and tow us along in a way, maybe get us back up towards the top 3. Maybe there's a double podium of this today. We seem to have good race pace, but that McLaren and the Aston do look a lot quicker than us today. You can see the gap we've pulled out to Leclerc behind. We're just kind of sat here behind George. He is sort of holding us up in a way, but if we overtake him he's just going to start fighting us again. So we've kind of got no choice but to sit here. But at the end of lap 16 we are going to be the first car to box. None of this, the first car ahead is the car who boxes first. We get to box first. Now we trundle down the pit lane. The green time up, the mediums go on, the hards go on, the mediums go off. It's a great stop, 2.5 seconds. And now where is this going to bring us out? Does this find us a lovely little gap? There's a Sauber there, not far up the road, but there's absolutely nothing behind him for a long way. As a couple of laps later, this is George extended by 2 laps. So we may have a chance to undercut George here, as it also looked a bit slow for him, but he is back out now, trundling down the pit lane on the hard tyres. Where are we going to come out? There we are. You can see us just heading down into turn 1. I think we've done it. We've undercut George. Yes, we have. There we are. He's not going to be happy about that one. And we've got a big gap as well to him, just over a second. But he's caught us back up. George seems to have another level in that Mercedes today. And he goes to the inside of us, and he gets us back into turn 1. We're going to try and fight it a bit this time, as we do keep George behind. So 1 lap later, lap 25, George is still all over the back of us. He's looking very, very quick as we head up now towards turn 3. He's going to go to the inside of us, is George. He's briefly got his nose ahead, and he is ahead, but we're going to do the up and under, the old switcheroo, and try and get him back here. It's a drag race down. Neither of us have DRS for some reason, but George is ahead, and he's got us this time. We might as well try and do what we were doing in the first stint in a way, not fighting too much, but the top 3 look very much out of touch today. They look too quick, but we are just going to sit here and sit behind George. We may be able to get closer to those in front, and if we don't, then we'll see what happens later on in the race. We are going to go to the outside of him though. He's going to go defensive. He's going to really show us the door, and there's nearly contact there with his rear tyre. But lap 30, 6 laps to go. We're not catching those in front, so let's go for the P4. We might as well fight him now. To the outside we go on George. We make him go defensive. We do. We cut back again. Lovely traction and the DRS, and we're ahead of our teammate George there, but he's coming back at us a couple of laps later, and we just about fend him off there. And now here he comes again, George. Just a couple of laps to go. He's going to go to the outside of us, and he's got us unless we can lunge it back to the inside, but we're too far back. And George, that's a great move, I'll give him that one, way before turn 4, but we're still all over the back of him. Now this time we're going to have the DRS. Is it going to be the inside? Is it going to be outside? He really goes defensive to the inside, does George, and that's going to give us a chance to swoop round the outside if we can keep it pinned. But it looks like George is still just ahead, and we are going to have to back out of it, though we're going to try and get him back round the outside, but he's just too far in front. Lap 33 now, 1 lap later, we're going to going really aggressive, try and do the old fake, and we get him round the outside there. Now though, going on to the final lap of what's been a pretty decent Austrian Grand Prix for us. Toto Wolff is probably got his face in his hands there, trying not to look at what the racing is going on, but George has got us there heading into turn 3, but we're going to try and go to the inside. George has us there though, but now can we get the traction? It looks like George is too far up the road. We haven't got the best of exits here. The battle for P4 to the inside, we're a little bit too far back. That may well be it, as now we get closer to the penultimate couple of corners. We're getting closer and closer to George. We're really getting closer. We've got a great exit out of the final corner, and we're going to beat him on the line to take P4.
Fernando Alonso has done it, and he takes the win. I mean, it looked like they were in a different category at points during the race, led every lap. I mean, what more can we say?
The Aston Martin team will be very happy with today's performance and the final result. Another display of excellent driving and excellent teamwork, and a well-deserved first-place finish.
So that's been your Austrian Grand Prix. What an ending to it. But it's been dominated by Fernando Alonso. Led every lap. Carlos Sainz dominated the sprint, but only could manage P2. Lando Norris rounds out the podium. Those top 3 teams were just too quick for us today. We just couldn't catch them. And then we beat George on the line for P4. 2 P4s today in the sprint and the race itself. And then George rounded out the top 5 and did get the fastest lap as well. And then down at the back there was just one retirement, that being Lance Stroll, and Oliver Behrman was the final finisher of the day in P19. This is what it looks like in terms of the championship then. 31 points between the 2 Aston Martins. Carlos Sainz up top. We are P3, but we are 60 points off of Sainz and then 29 off of Fernando Alonso. We've got a chance at the title potentially, but that Aston Martin looks so quick. Adrian Newey has worked his magic with that car. It's so clear of everyone else, and you can see it this weekend. And then we're just 8 points in front of Lando. There's still a lot of drivers still yet to score. And then in terms of the constructors, it's a great day for Aston Martin. A 1-2 in the race. Only a 4-5 for us means the gap now is 127 points between us and Aston Martin. Then McLaren are P3 in the constructors. Then it's Red Bull and Williams round out the top 5, and then there's still RB, Haas and Sauber who are still yet to score. So that's been then your Austrian Grand Prix, the sprint and the race. Good points in both of them. Next up we go to my home Grand Prix. We head to Silverstone, and I'll see you then. Goodbye.